he says, listen, when you start with Shir HaShirim, it says Shir HaShirim Asher Lishlomo. That's the song of not necessarily Shlomo HaMelech, but HaMelech Sha'ashalom Shelo, about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the most troubling verse that you could probably think about is the following: Yishakeni minishikot piu, ki tovim dodecha miyayin. That God will kiss me from His mouth, from the neshikot of His mouth, because tovim dodecha miyayin, because your love is greater than wine. God is going to kiss us in His mouth because the love with God is greater than wine? What is that? So he says, the closest proximity, nothing that gets any closer. It's almost like you see two fingers. Could anything be closer than these two fingers? Nothing. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu is closer to us than that. Closer to us. So we want the greatest proximity to Hashem. But where's that going to happen? Here it cannot unfortunately happen. Why? Because when we came out of Egypt, when we were redeemed from the exile, we all arrived at Mount Sinai. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to reveal Himself without any boundaries, without any border. And what did we say to Hashem? Please, Hashem, do us a favor. It's a little bit too much for us. We asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we asked God that Ve'ale daber imanu Elohim. We told Moshe Rabbeinu, do us a favor. It's a little too much for us. Go, you hear what Hashem says, you tell it over to us because it's too much. Meaning, not that they didn't want, but because we live in a world that is dressed with physicality. And physicality also means that you don't see all of spirituality, or that we're not ready. And it's not a fault or anything, but just the reality. We can't have 100% exposure to Hashem. So there's some sort of a distance. So we told Moshe Rabbeinu, we want Hashem. We want to do the best thing. We want to hear everything from Hashem. We just can't. So please go up, get us the 10 Commandments, hear everything, take the 40 days and 40 nights, come back, relate it to us in the way that we can. Give us a prescription of what we can handle, because this world is just too much for us. And so when is the time going to come where we don't need an intermediary, where you don't need a distance, where you could do the whole thing? That's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the time of Mashiach, in the time of redemption, and that's what it means. Yeshakeni minishikot piu. He will kiss us from His mouth, meaning proximity without any distance, without any border. Not a wave, not a, how you doing, not even a little hug. The closest thing. So how is wine and water? How does that have to do with it? Wine is great. Wine, we get together, we even get closer when we have a glass of wine together. But too much wine, you can't handle that. Right? Too much wine, you can't handle that. There's no way you can handle that. Even though the Torah is resembled to wine, you can't handle that. This world is like drinking wine in terms of our study of Torah. You can get really, really deep, but there's still a limit, there's still a boundary. But the world to come is going to be like water, meaning to say, endless. If you look at the water, if you look at the ocean, it's an expression of something that's seamless and endless. There's no boundaries to it. The depth just keeps on going, and we have no idea what's going on in there. That's the Torah. And that is in the time of Geulah, in the time of redemption, in the time of Mashiach, and that's what we hope for. So in this world, there's a distance. In the world to come, there's going to be absolute proximity. In this world, it's compared to wine, because you can get really close and deep in your understanding and connection, but there's still a limit. And in the world to come, or in the time of redemption, it's going to be like water. And that's Kamayim Layam Bechasim. The whole world is going to be filled with knowledge of God, and everything is going to make sense. Everything is going to be perfect. Everything is going to be sublime, and we're only going to get more intensified and closer to Hashem with our study of Torah. And that is the very, very beginning of Shir HaShirim. As Hashem will be able to do a little bit more as we go on.